Wrapping up stocker, Zach, the stock cropper. Coming to you on May 22nd, Sunday morning, heading over to plant the stock cropper demonstration plot. That's what we're going to have for you today. Okay, so today is Monday, May 23rd. It would have been my grandmother's 102nd birthday if she was still alive, and we're out here on her farm, the Smith Homestead, putting in the 2022 stock cropper plot. And this thing's a Bearcat because there's a lot of screwing around we're doing this year with all the different things we're trying to accomplish. So we've got 60-inch twin row that we just finished planting, and now we're switching the planter over to do 90-inch twin row corn. So on the first one, we had 4 different hybrids on 60-inch centers, and we did 3 different populations across. Now the lowest I could get on the planter was 16,000. So I did 16,000, 26,000, and 36,000 pops to see what kind of flex that we can get out of those. And we're gonna do the same population range here all across the 3 blocks for the 90-inch, and then we're gonna put in regular 30-inch. But so just to give you an idea of what we have to do using kind of our conventional equipment, we don't have the budget for a slick, awesome twin row planter, so we're having to make our 30-inch commercial planter work. So what we just got done doing, or finishing the last process, is switching our fertilizer delivery system to put our nitrogen on. So we've got plugs that we have here on our red balls, and we put them in on the rows that we don't want fertilizer on. And we've got one more to trace here, and that's what Juice Nation is doing right now, is trying to find row 16's hose so we can put it back in the right spot. And then we're going to plant this down. So we plant it once on the left side of the strip, then we come back and shift over. And it's not perfect. It's really tough actually doing this. It'd be a lot simpler to have a nice twin row monocoque planter or a Great Plains or something. But that's, like I said, we're doing the best we can with what we have. So if you come to our plot day and say, oh, those things aren't 8 inches apart, well, eat it. Let's see you do this. So this is what we're changing here. We're changing our transmission sprockets 3 times across the length of the plot. So we've got flags every 250 feet that we stop, and then we change this so we go from low population to mid population to high population across the planter. So now we're on the 90-inch first pass. So we've got row 1, 2, 3, row 4, 5, 6, row 7, and so forth. So now we just have 3 hybrids across the width of the planter. And Juice Newton is having his patience tried dealing with me this morning, because this is not a easy thing. So Juice is my man in behind, and he's got the walkie and telling me if I need to be left or right on our strips, because what we're trying to do is place this seed. You know, we have about an 8-inch or 10-inch berm here that we're trying to hit with these spring strips that we made, and we're trying to put 1 row on one side of the strip and the other row on the other side of the strip, which is easier said than done, even though we have RTK on the tractor. Getting it lined up with the way that the planter drafts and how it moves, it takes the path of least resistance. And so Juice is behind me with the walkie-talkie telling me left, right, and I'm trying to do that and keep everything else going in just 250 feet without screwing it up. So this is not simple. Could this be done easier if somebody wrote me a check for $50,000 and I bought a bunch of equipment? Absolutely. So if you want to, go to Juice Newton's Stock Cropper GoFundMe page to make our lives simpler, right?
Yes.
And save you on therapy bills. Or booze.
Sure. Booze. Therapy.
Yeah, therapy, all of it. All right,
John Deere Bush Light.
Yeah, John Deere Bush Light. All right, let's do it. So for people not familiar with farming, so we have this handy dandy book that we can come in here to see what sprocket settings we have and the populations we want. So I want about 26,000 for this next run. So we need 27 driver, 28 driven. So now Vanna White Juice Newton is out making the adjustment, and I'm gonna hop out and do the same on my side. This is hard to film. I need both hands, so you're just gonna have to trust me that I get it right. So we are putting a little bit of nitrogen on to get stuff going here. So you can see it dripping. This is a better picture. So it gets dropped right into the little divots that the closing wheels make, and then we've got these drag chains that come behind and tuck it in so it doesn't have the ability to volatilize as easily. We also have this all treated with Agritane Ultra or Agritane Max or whatever new dominant strain of Agritane they have, so we don't lose our nitrogen to volatility. So we just finished the first pass of 90 and picked up a hitchhiker on the way. So we're gonna get this. This is the last hard one, and then we're gonna put the 30-inch strip in, so we'll have a comparison. So really, you know, if people are asking like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you trying to learn? Well, what we're trying to learn is how do different hybrids across different population schemes react to twin row gap populations. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're trying to figure out is it possible to do some of these schematics like twin row 60-inch corn or twin row 90-inch corn where you can leverage that difference in light interception by having gaps, and can the plant react well enough at different populations where it could make more sense to do something like that across a broad acre field situation, and then grow something else in between. So you're getting the benefit of, you know, putting less seed out there, but getting maybe the same yield that you would get in conventional 30-inch spaces, but then be able in between to put a bunch of different other plants or pieces of biology to feed the soil, rather than just, you know, like what I have out here, a bunch of soybeans. So that's really what the purpose of screwing around with this stuff is, in my opinion, is how can you put more biological complex systems out here and still be able to make money selling corn to the ethanol plant? Because, you know, the reality is that these shifts are not going to happen overnight, and we need to find things that are transitional that make sense to give people a path to adopt some of these practices.
All right, so here we got the view from the back, what I'm seeing, and I'm just following behind, keeping an eye on things. It's hard to see, but I'm trying to keep him right on the right side of that row. He's doing really good right now. Right one. And and the big thing is make sure we got juice coming out of the tube, put nitrogen down. Picks up here at the end of that 250-foot run. Oh, it's hard to see. There we can. You can see where the left side is and the right side is. So we've got about an 8-inch, maybe 10-inch gap between the two. Okay, so Juice and I just got everything switched back over. We've got all of our fertilizer lines hooked back up, so every row is going to be getting juice. And Juice has got our population sprocket set, and now we're going to have corn across everything. So 4 rows of each hybrid. And for those of you that don't know what a fertilizer pump looks like, this is what a fertilizer pump looks like. So he just changed the setting to 5.75 precision juice Newton, right on the money, spot on. And we've got one more pass, and everything of this trial will be complete, and then we'll be moving on to actually planting the stock cropper plot, the 20-foot and the 10-foot lanes here next. So you can see we've got our pasture mix that we drilled into these stalks here a couple weeks ago, and it's coming, it's up. You can see the different species. But it's got a ways to go, so a couple more weeks before we'll be ready to do this. We're also going to come out here and dribble some nitrogen on this, especially into these corn stalks, to feed it, give it a boost. And then we're also going to do some burn down applications that Jordan's going to be working on here. We just talked our plan to get the volunteer annual ryegrass that came through from last year, and then some of the cereal rye that came back as well. So by the end of, we're going into Memorial Day weekend, we're gonna have this place shaped up pretty nice. Planters folded up, done with a big one for the year, and back to spraying.
Okay, so it's the next day and we are out here with our other planting unit that we've used last year. This is from my old place of employment, Osmus Farm Supply, so shout out to them and thanks for letting us use their plot planter. This thing's really handy. We did use the 16 row for the big stuff that we did yesterday. 4 row is where it comes in really handy for doing some of the small narrow stuff especially. So what I'm working on here this morning is something that a lot of you saw last year, but it is changing out these sprockets. So on the outside 4 rows, or the outside 2 rows of the planter, we're going to have a heavier population to take advantage of the extra light corridor that we're going to have set up working next to the stock cropper barns. So I thought I'd just show folks here. I'll flip the camera. So a standard John Deere or Kinsey planter sprocket that comes off this drive chain is 19 teeth, and we're going to replace one with 15 teeth. So it'll speed this outside row up. We actually last year had, I think we used an 11 tooth, which got us up to 58,000 if I remember right. And with the dry weather, and then we didn't singulate very well at that high population, so I've chose to not go so hard this year on the outside rows. So I've got to pop one little cotter key out here and put a little Squirrel Piss WD-40 on this shaft, slide it off, put this one on, and then we'll be ready to go head out to the plot and plant. Stock cropping 2022. So we're planting our corn right now next to the pasture strips that are up. This is in the 10-foot lane. Actually, no, this is in the 20-foot lane. We're going to put soybeans right next to it here to the side. Almost out of seed here. Always use gloves when handling seed grading. Unless you don't have gloves, you're not patient. Then accept your fate. Okay, so we are having all sorts of fun planting the specialty stuff. So we've done twin row 90-inch sweet corn. We're going to put pumpkins or squash in between. We just did single row 90-inch sweet corn, and now we're going to do 60-inch 78-day sweet corn. So now we are putting our 32% for Indian corn and the sweet corn on. This is our floater, sponsored by Suzuki. They just don't know it yet. Also Shaben tanks. Appreciate it. Laying down the nectar. Now we're just getting flat house cocking. Seed it and juice it. Get busy living. Okay, so it is now Memorial Day morning, early on Monday, and just working on editing this video out, and wanted to kind of just do a summary that makes sense of kind of everything put together of what you're going to see at the 2022 stock cropper plot located just outside of beautiful Buffalo Center, Iowa. So 3 different sections to the plot this year. So we've got this section that we planted first, where again we did an evaluation of twin row 60-inch corn, twin row 90-inch corn, and just regular 30-inch corn, okay? And what we did is we divided the plot into 250-foot sections at different planter sprocket setting populations. So we did a block at 16,000, 26,000, and 36,000. And we had 4 different hybrids in the 60-inch block as well as the 30-inch block, and 3 different hybrids across the planter on the twin 90 block as well. So we had a ton of different variables going on out here. We put about 50 pounds of nitrogen down with the planter. We're going to come back and side dress all this stuff. But we're really going to see how different hybrids flex with different populations in these different row schematics. Okay, and we talked about how we planted it, in the video, so I'm not going to put a lot more time. But this is going to be a really, really interesting one to watch. Then in the middle, we have our standard stock cropper plot. So I said this year we're going to be running the 20-foot Cluster Cluck 5000 and the 10-foot Cluster Cluck Nano when it gets back from our partners at Dawn. So the rotation is going to be similar, where we're going to have this racetrack pattern of a cool season pasture followed by a warm season pasture. And we're just going to do the bull dance around the circle here. In between them, we're going to have our feed stuff crops. So we're going to have a mix of corn and soy, 4 rows and 4 rows next to the cool season. And then we did a mix of peas that we planted directly into the 30-inch strips. And then I seeded barley yesterday over the top. Hopefully we get a rain on that today. And then we had 4 rows of corn next to it. In our 10-foot schematic, we had 4 rows of corn, our cool season, and then we're going to have our warm season mix over here. And then another 4 rows of corn. And all the corn in the stock cropper plot, the outside row was planted at about 46 to 48,000. In between, I had just some filler. I put a block of soybeans in. And then I wanted to do an expanded chunk here where we could look at what this field pea and barley mix. So this is one thing we've talked about for the last 2 years. Last year, we weren't able to pull it off because of the drought that we had in the spring. It just didn't come. I think our chances this year to just have this for a viewing experimental to see how this looks in northern Iowa is going to happen. So I got that seeded yesterday. Then over here, we've got kind of the fun stuff in the block. If you came to our field day last year, this is right in front of our barn where we kind of spoke where the parking lot was. I stripped this all out, and we're going to have a whole bunch of cool stuff in here. So we planted 90-inch corn, whatever that was, a week ago. When the corn gets up, we're going to come in and we're going to drill in soybeans on an 8-inch spacing into this corn. And then we're going to thin the corn out. Same thing with 60-inch corn. Get this thinned down to a lower population and see what kind of total yield that we can get out of the combination. We may combine this separately with running the corn ahead high and then coming back and taking the beans. Or we may just do the whole thing and then run them through some spirals to separate them and see what kind of yield we get out of it. Then we just had some fun with some different schematics to fill things out. We did 90-inch sweet corn with pumpkins planted in between, 60-inch sweet corn with pumpkins, twin row 90-inch sweet corn with pumpkins, and 60-inch Indian corn with squash and mini jack pumpkins. So my hope is that when we planted this on whatever that was a week ago, that we're going to have sweet corn for our plot day, which I am targeting right now. If anybody is wondering, I've had a lot of questions, I'm hoping Friday, August 19th or Saturday, August 20th. So if you have any real desires as far as whether it's on a Friday or a Saturday for a weekend, I'm trying to pick a date in between, vacations and school starting, so that we've had issues when we've gone into September with competing against other things that have prohibited people from coming. We're hoping that date will have everything up and looking really good, so we can really learn a lot from walking around and looking at these things. But that is the date, August 19th or 20th is what we're shooting for right now. So that in a nutshell is what we've got. We've got a ton of stuff. It's way more expansive than what we had last year. And I'm super excited because everything went relatively well for as far as putting it in. We didn't have any issues like we've had in the past in some cases. So what I want to say as well is if you're not able to make that date or that doesn't work or you're coming by, we are just 20 miles south of Interstate 90 as you go across southern Minnesota, and we're about 30 miles west of Interstate 35 as you go just into Minnesota. So it's really easy to get to us. If you want to come by and just see what we got going on, I'm open for appointment all summer long for somebody to stop in and visit. We are an open book. This is here to share with everyone in the hopes that we learn together on this. So, send me a line, whether it's Twitter, email, whatever, and I would be happy to set that up and walk through it with you. So that is what is cropping up, stockers, for the 2022 season. I'm jacked. We're going to learn a lot of really good stuff this year, and hopefully build out some concepts that can be used on broader acres. Thanks for watching.